how has your relationship or has your relationship with your materials, like the metals, stones, tools, changed over time? Are there materials or tools that feel like maybe an old friend now?
Well, I mean, it goes without saying my saw. My saw is like, I have it
Yeah.
tattooed on my arm. So obviously, I feel super deeply about that. I will say when I first started doing jewelry, I thought this saw was the stupidest thing ever and I hated it. And I didn't ever understand why anybody would use such a
Mm,
frustrating tool. Um, but I say this, and I say this all the time to people who ask. Uh, if you can figure out how to use the jeweler saw, you can pretty much do anything. You can cut out any shape. You can use it as, you can just use it in so many different ways. And even though it's frustrating, if you practice with it, you'll get so much better with it. I talk to people come up to me at the farmer's market where I sell weekly. Lots of metal workers will come up and talk to me and be like, "Oh, I tried to use a jeweler saw. That's so frustrating." And I was like, "How long did you do it?" And they're like, "Oh, I don't know. I took a 2 month course and I just," like, well, if you there's so much you can do with a jeweler saw. It's one of the things you need a file, a jeweler saw, and some sandpaper and some metal, and you can make something. It doesn't take the saw is such a simple thing, and if you can figure out how to utilize it, the whole world opens up to you. And there's just a few things that you have to do with the saw. You have to have good saw blades. You got to get the tension. You have to have the tension just right. And you cannot force that saw into the metal. Let the saw do the work. Pushing, pulling, torquing. I'm always telling people, if you're gripping onto that saw so tight that you're breaking blades, you need to just ease up. Just barely
mm-hmm.
hang on to that saw. So even if it does get bound up in the metal, your hand falls off of it. If your hand is gripping that so tight that you're gonna squeeze it to death, you're gonna break blades. And they're like, "Oh, okay." And then I've had people come back and talk to me again at the market and be like, "You're absolutely right." I'm like, "I know, I know, I am."
Yeah. That's one of
Uh,
those. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, go for it, go for it.
That's one of those things that when I'm working, and especially when I'm soldering very small pieces, I'm holding my breath a lot. And even
Totally.
though I feel like what we do is very therapeutic for me, my head clears, it's good for me if I'm having a bad day. That's what I love to turn to. But I mean, I am holding my breath like I'm under stress. And that's one thing that I know with the saw. It's like you have to relax. You absolutely have to relax with it because if you're going at it, just like you said, you're going to break blades.
Yeah. And then you're going to be frustrated and you're going to be mad and you're going to think that that's the stupidest tool that there ever
I
was.
know.
But it
I know.
absolutely, it's the whole like holding your breath. It's, I'll let you in on another little secret of my neuroses. I am, when I'm sawing, certain days, I am so stressed about breaking blades. Like that's when when blades break, it pisses me off and it scares me. I'm usually like sawing along, going along, and the blade will break and I'll like scream like a girl because it just startles me so much. And so there's some days that I come out here and I sit down and I'm about to get ready to pierce a bunch of stuff out and I'm like terrified of that. And then I have to say, I'm like, Laney, calm down. You've been doing this a long time. But I have my mental health is so tied around creating. I have to create because if I'm not creating, I get in a really not great place. But also, even when I'm in the middle of it, a lot of my anxieties are like running through, but I work through it. And I think that's all part of the process. I think that's all how I deal with those anxieties, that I don't let it stop me. And I know I just have to push through it. I
Yeah.
don't, even 35 years later though, it's still that way.